Hi, and welcome to Wednesday. Before I get started on the letters today, I wanted to do a couple commercials. The next Zoom is on the 21st, Monday, and it's following a pretty big full moon on Friday, so get some good information. For those of you that were around when we did the book club a few years back until borders closed, we are doing the book club again starting in May. It'll be the third Tuesday of every month for an hour from 7 to 8. And it's going to be over by the Goddess Elite, plenty of parking. And she will actually have the books too. It'll be on the website, the book for May, and then we'll make suggestions for whoever is there at the first meeting. So that's fun. That'll be looking forward to it. And at 10:30 this morning, whoever was on at that time, we did a group white light that we sent over to the Ukraine to help with some of the horrible stuff that's going on over there. And so it is on my website and it is on the Goddess Elite website if that's something that you would like to do, or it's on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. You can definitely go to that, and it's under 5 minutes, but these people need help. So if you're so inclined, it's not a bad thing to do. The letters today, these are people that I've actually done work for. And interesting. Okay, the first one reads, "Hi, Marianne. My wife and I wouldn't stay in our house till you came out after we talked to you," which is true. I am surprised sometimes how many people do that. They leave the house until I can get out there. But think about it. You've been living with them. You wouldn't have called me if you didn't think something was going on. And it's not going to get worse till I get there, but everybody does what they feel comfortable. So here is the letter. One night, my wife, Lynn, we were laying, Lynn was kind of sleeping, and I was laying there trying to fall asleep. And our comforter on one side two different sides. You can use one side or the other side. The one side of the comforter is dark blue, which is the side we would always use for the top. The underside is very light blue, and we never use that one. One night, Lynn woke up. I was not quite asleep yet, and she started whining. "What's going on? What are you doing? Who is this? What are you doing?" I was lying next to her, saying, "It's okay, go back to sleep." She has always talked in her sleep, so I didn't think this was unusual. Then Lynn woke up, turned on her light on her side of the bed, and our comforter was totally reversed with the light blue side up. Not to mention that we have 2 little dogs in bed with us. We never have the light blue side up because it's an ugly blue. To this day, talking about this freaks us out. Maybe more than our vacuum cleaner turning itself on at 4 o'clock in the morning, waking us up. When you came out, it was a husband and wife ghost, which you said was unusual. They did not like the way we were keeping house. Well, I do remember this because I thought, how did they do this without the dogs realizing that they were being literally picked up and the blanket turned over? But it's amazing. I don't remember because this happened a number of years ago. And I'm absolutely positively going to guess that it had to be on a full moon or very close to it, or maybe an eclipse, because that would have taken a lot of energy. But there were 2 of them. It was a husband and wife. And that in itself is unusual. I hardly ever find two ghosts that know each other in the same house. I don't know what it is, but two earthbound spirits, it will affect their energy if they're in the same room. But obviously, they figured out, this husband and wife figured out how to do it. Um, Turned out that the people looked them up once I gave the name, and they were people that had a cleaning company, house cleaning company, when they were alive. And I guess they just thought they needed to go in this house and clean it. You know, I have to laugh. It's like, geez, if I found a ghost like that that would clean house, I actually might think about bringing him home with me. Yeah, no. Okay, the house has been fine ever since. We never had another problem after you were here. Thank you so much. Glad I could take care of it. This one is from June in Illinois. Marianne, in 1983, we called you. We lived here for 20 years, then rented it several years before one of our daughters moved back into the house. She didn't want us to move and always said it was the only place she felt like home. Several things were happening while we lived there, but it really started when our daughter moved back into the house. She ended up with scratches on her chest. She was touched on the shoulder by a little girl. He heard a man call her name. Heard doors open, doors that she is certain she had shut are open. And when she gets home from work, her clocks were changed. And one night she heard her front screen door being moved back and forth. The next morning it was propped open. She has two dogs and a cat. The dogs did bark at all hours. Sometimes the cat will start hissing for no reason. She had heard her cat's toys being played with at night, and the cat was right next to her sleeping. She had seen several shadows throughout her house and standing beside her house at night. She actually heard like heavy machinery working in her backyard. It was if, so I know there was so much going on, and when you came out, we had three ghosts, but only two would talk to you. The older man knew the original owner of the house. They worked together in a factory. The younger man came home with my daughter. She reminded him of his dead daughter. The one that wouldn't talk was the one that was messing with the dogs. I sort of remember this. And, you know, it's so easy for a spirit to follow you home. They never had another bit of trouble after that. They had the Quincy's, and they moved since then, because I remember they called me up and they wanted to know what do they do with the seeds. And for any of you that have the seeds up and you're moving, when you get the keys to your new place, and you're in the old house for the last time, run around, take your seeds down, go call me when you get to your new place, and if that house is clear, you can put the seeds right back up again. Not a problem. Okay, this one is from Annie. One night I was in bed about to go to sleep, and my husband seemed very anxious and basically ordered me to come to sleep in the other room with him. I was annoyed, and I said I was fine. He said, "Well, you aren't alone," and in a flash he disappeared. I got up to see what was wrong. He had gone into the office and made up the sleeper sofa for us to sleep. His arms were cold and clammy. He was sweating. He finally confessed that this was not the first time he had seen her. Apparently, there is a young girl in the white nightgown that was at the bottom of the stairs. He glanced out of the corner of her eye and for a second thought it was me. He asked me a question, but I didn't answer. So he repeated the question. He looked up and saw the child looking at him. She then continued to walk towards our bedroom and disappeared inside. This is when he yelled at me from the doorway and would not come into the room. I did end up sleeping with him in the office. I never heard or saw anything, but he was obviously scared. I had only seen him like that petrified once before, and it was when he saw a black smoky fog with the face in it. That was in an apartment a few years before we moved into this house. Again, I never saw that either, but I did have odd things happen and sometimes felt like somebody was watching me. My husband told me that night that he had seen her a few times before. She was usually at the bottom of the stairs and would just walk up and walk into the master bedroom. We haven't had anything weird happen since you've been here. And when I came out, the young woman was about 20 years old. She had been killed by her boyfriend, and it was in that house, and it was never solved. And so she just kept doing the same thing every night, hoping somebody would see her. And that actually happened 40 years before they had me come out. The house has been fine ever since. Absolutely no problems at all. Okay, this one is from Mickey. 2 years ago, right before COVID, I called you. I believed we had a ghost or maybe a couple ghosts. My 18-year-old daughter and I were having experiences and weird things in our house, from someone sitting on our feet to jumping on our beds and making our dogs go crazy. On several occasions, I'd be in the shower and had seen someone on the other side of the curtain. When I pulled the curtain back, no one was there. I had a pair of shoes disappear and found them hidden in the back of my closet where my bowling bags are. My daughter made her bed and was gone for the weekend. I went in her room and there was an imprint of a body on her bed. I smoothed it out, left the room, came back in about 2 hours, and it was back. And I was the only one home. I have had my ceiling fan turn on high, that I shut off the switch to turn off the light, and when I woke up it was on low. In the middle of the night, I could hear the swooshing, but the light was not on. We had 2 ghosts, both men. One really liked my daughter. He had followed her home from college. The other one thought he was funny, and that's why he would follow us around. He actually followed me home from work, and with the fan and messing with the dogs, he just thought he was a very funny person and thought it was great fun to try to scare me and my daughter, which he did. But since you've been there, everything has been fine, and this has only been now 2 or 3 years, and everything is great. This one is from John from Michigan. One of our renters saw a woman carrying a basket in her bedroom. We were sure this woman died in the house just over a year ago. Our new renters are smelling cooking in an upstairs bedroom. They smell spaghetti, cinnamon rolls, roasts. Sometimes it's just in one spot, sometimes it's in the hall. Both renters smell it. The odd thing is, none of their dogs seem to notice, and we can't figure out why. uh, I figured I can't own a house and have ghosts in it. You came out and it was a woman, but not the ghost we thought it was. She was just a lady. This house is a double, and she was a relative to the renter on the other side. And because they were relatives, this woman stayed on their side to get the energy because she didn't want to make her own relatives sick. So she would peek over and see how she was doing, but she stayed with these 2. the woman, the ghost acted like she was a martyr. I remember this one because it was, woe is me. All I do is clean. All I do is laundry. I'm never done. Nobody's ever happy with. This ghost was a miserable ghost. I remember thinking to myself, gosh, you would have been horrible to know when you were alive. And so she crossed over. I told her she would never have to clean or cook or wash clothes again. And she did leave. And as John says, the house has been fine ever since. Never had a problem at all. Okay, that is it for today. And we will do this again next week. Have a safe week, and weather's starting to get better, so enjoy it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.